So for the first one, is that one going to be an open dot or a closed dot?
Open dot.
Open, yeah, at 3. And then greater than to the right or to the left?
Right to the right.
Yeah. Okay, and then this one, open or closed?
Open.
Open, and then less than what direction? Left. Okay, greater than or equal to 3, open or closed?
Closed.
Closed to the
Right.
right. And then less than or equal to 3,
Closed.
closed, left. Yep. Okay, so here's kind of like your cheat sheet for this if you're still kind of struggling. So you're going to use an open dot anytime you don't have the equal to line. So if it's greater than or if it's less than. A closed dot if it has the equal to line. Okay. Then you're going to use an arrow going to the right if it's anything having to do with greater than, and an arrow going to the left if it's anything having to do with less than. Okay? Make sense? Okay. All right, so we are doing compound inequalities today. So your objective is students will be able to solve and graph inequalities containing the words and or. All right, so compound inequality is basically just where you have two inequalities that are being connected together, okay? So like a compound word, it's two words connected together, right? So we have two kinds. We have and ones, and then we have or ones. So on this little chart, these top two are going to be the and ones. And these ones are going to be the or ones. So for the and ones, so basically you're going to have two situations. You're going to have a situation where your two inequalities on a graph are going to point towards each other like this, meaning that everything between the two numbers is going to be a solution. Or you're going to have a situation where they're pointing away from each other, okay? So for and, that's when they're pointing towards each other. And there's two technical ways to write it. We don't really do it with the word and. We do it like this on the bottom. And then for or, you're just going to have the two separated out with the word or between them. Okay? And we're going to talk about kind of how to form the and ones, why they look the way that they do. And then for the and ones, see how you have the two dots and it's connected between them, and the ors are pointing away from each other. So, one thing to note for the and inequalities is that both of your signs are always going to be less than signs. Okay? So they're either going to be less than or equal to for both of them on the and ones. And I'll explain why in a second. And then for the or, you're going to have one less than or equal to, then one greater than or equal to. Okay, so if we kind of look at these comparing to the graph, So see how for the or ones, because we're going to start with that because it's easier. So the first one's going to be some version of a less than, because the first one on the graph is going to the left for less than, okay? Then the next one's going to be some version of greater than, because that arrow is going to the right for greater than. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. For the and ones, they're both less than because the x is in the center. So for example on this, I'm going to start with the graph and then kind of show you how the inequality is built. So on this one, we have x is both greater than 2, and we have x is less than 6. So if we're trying to build off of this one, an and inequality, let's graph this real quick. So on a graph, we have 0, 2, 6. Okay, so at 2, is it going to be open or closed?
Open.
Open. And then it's greater than, so what direction would that go?
Right.
To the right. At 6, would it be open or closed?
Open.
Open. Less than goes what direction?
Left.
Left. Okay. So that's why your graph looks like that, because they're going towards each other. Okay. So basically your x's are between 2 and 6, not including them though. Okay. So when I'm trying to build the and form off of this, we like to put the x in the middle because that's where the solutions are. The solutions, that line is between the two values. So we like to put the x in the center. So this one is going to have to flip around. So see how the x is kind of in the middle of this one already, but this x needs to come to the center. So this one gets flipped around to be 2 is less than x. So see how I just flipped it, but the x is still bigger? And then we basically just connect these together and only write the x once. So you put the x in the middle, the less than 6, and then the greater than 2 like that. Which ends up always making them both some version of a less than sign, because if I cover this part up, it still is x is less than 6. But if I cover this up, it's technically a greater than because the x is on the wrong side. But we use a less than symbol for it. Does that make sense? Kind of? Okay, so just remember that for the and ones, you should always have both of them being less than signs, then the smaller number, and then the bigger number. And then for or, you'll have the less than first with the smaller number, then the greater than with the bigger number. Okay? And we're going to practice this a lot, so don't worry. All right. So first, we're just going to go through and take a phrase and then just create an inequality from it. Okay? So for problem 1a, it says all real numbers that are greater than -2 and less than 6. So let's kind of break this sentence down. So all real numbers, that's going to be your x. All your solutions, basically, that are greater than -2. That's going to be greater than -2. And less than 6. It's going to be less than 6. And then it's going to be kind of up to you in your brain if it makes more sense for you to write it first and then graph it, or graph it then write it. I like to graph it and then write it. So if it's greater than -2, am I going to have an open or a closed dot at -2?
Open.
Open, because not equal to, right? And then greater than goes what direction?
Right.
To the right. And then less than 6, is that going to be open or closed?
Open.
Open. And less than goes what direction?
Left.
Left. So see how those are going towards each other? So you're basically just going to connect them all the way in the center. So even if when you're reading this problem you didn't catch that it was an and by the word and being here, you'll be able to tell as soon as you throw it on a graph because it'll be connected between them. Okay? So now let's write the inequality. So x is going to go in the center. Your smaller number is going to go on the left, so -2. Your bigger number on the right. And you should be using both of them as less than signs. Because here, less than 6 is going to look like that from the x, right? X is less than 6. But if I'm just looking at this piece, x is greater than -2, so it has to be still this way for the x to be greater than. Okay? All right, and then the next one for B, we have all real numbers that are less than 0 or greater than or equal to 5. So again, all real numbers is going to be what? Your x. So that are less than 0. So less than 0. Or greater than or equal to 5. So that's greater than or equal to 5. So let's just throw this on a graph and see what we end up with, okay? So if we have less than 0, is that open or closed at 0?
Open.
Open, and then going what direction?
Left.
Left. And then greater than or equal to 5, is that open or closed at 5?
Closed.
Closed. Going what direction?
Right.
Right. So see how these two, instead of them pointing towards each other like the last one did, they're going away from each other? So that's also how you know that it's an or if you don't see it there. Right? So I would just add your arrows on the ends. And then when you're writing this one out, it's going to be in this form up here. A lot easier. You just keep them separate and put the word or between them. So for this one, x is less than 0, so you do x is less than 0. Or, then this one, x is greater than or equal to 5. So formatting for and, always less than signs, smaller number than bigger number. For or, it's always going to be the less than with the smaller number and then the greater than with the bigger number. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay, go ahead and try the got it. Heather, did they give you a pass? I don't need it. It just like if they give it to me, I get it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, we done? Yes. Okay. All right, let's go over this. All right, so for A, all real numbers that are greater than or equal to -4 and less than 6. So all real numbers is what? X. So you have greater than or equal to -4, so greater than or equal to -4, and less than 6. So at -4, is it open or closed? Closed to the what direction?
Right.
Right. And then at 6, open or closed?
Open.
Open to the left, so they connect between, which you also know because it's an and. So for your inequality, you should have x in the middle. You should have your -4 and your 6. They're both less than signs, but the -4 one will get the line underneath it. So that way, if you cover up this, you have your x is less than 6. And then if you cover up this part, you have your x is greater than or equal to -4. Got it? Okay. Yes.
Why would it be open?
For 6?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have the, it's only less than 6, it's not less than or equal to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next one. All real numbers that are less than or equal to 2.5 or greater than 6. So all real numbers is your x. Less than or equal to 2.5. So less than or equal to 2.5. Or greater than 6. Greater than 6. Okay, so for 2.5, is that open or closed? Closed, yes, right there. Closed, going to the what? Left. At 6, open or closed? Open, going to the right. Yep, so you can see that it's an or by looking at the graph, or the word or. So for the final inequality, you should have, do this one first, the less than one first. X is less than or equal to 2.5. Or x is greater than 6.
So we would write like one problem, like that problem, go into that first, and then we'll put or.
Yep.
And write that one.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep them separate.
So then x goes on.
All right, yes.
Can I use your
Yeah.
A.
Mhm.
A is less than 6, and then the one is greater than or equal to. Wouldn't those be different signs?
So yes, but since the x is between them, so the x is on the left on this one for x is less than 6, right? But then for this side, the x is on the right, so that is x is greater than or equal to -4, but it's just the x is starting on the right side. Does that make sense? So they both end up always being less than because of that. Yeah. All right, so now we're going to learn how to solve these, okay? So the steps are going to be a little bit different than what we're actually going to do. I'm going to show you the trick way to do it, okay? So for the steps, it basically says, it doesn't matter what kind you have, and or, you're going to split it into the two separate inequalities, solve them, and then put it back together. For the and ones, we're going to do it kind of the cheat way, but if we do it the cheat way, there's something that you have to pay attention, watch out for, that we're going to talk about after the first examples, okay? So basically what you're going to do for the and ones is your goal is to get the variable by itself in the middle, okay? So instead of having the one line at the equal sign or the symbol, you're going to have two, one at each, like this. So draw 2 lines. And we are focusing on the middle. So we're trying to get the variable by itself in the middle. So how would I get the m by itself? Yep, +4. And what you're going to do is you're going to do that to both sides. So all 3. Like this. So you're kind of solving 2 inequalities at the same time. Okay? So you'll have your m in the middle. Bring that down. -3 + 4 is 1. -1 + 4 is 3. Mhm.
So I went ahead and I feel like I got the correct answer, but the incorrect way.
Yes, that is the absolute correct feeling that you're feeling. Yeah, give me 1 second to finish this one, and then, well, actually, just wait, because we're going to go over it. Yeah. Okay, so on this one, so one Carlos, were you saying this -3?
Yeah.
Because you added with the 4.
Oh, okay.
Make sense? Okay, so you want to verify for your final answer. You still have both less than signs. You still have the smaller number on the left, the bigger number on the right. Okay? Okay. So at 1, is it going to be open or closed? Closed. And then at 3, open or closed? Open. And then it's an and, so you know it's connected between the two. Okay?
Miss Sashi,
Uh-huh.
so every time you do that whatever's close to the letter, that's what we put under the bottom.
Yeah, so that's why I draw these lines down, so you're only focusing between the two symbols and getting rid of everything to get the variable by itself.
So that's why it's like, and that's how we put next. That's how we put 4.
Yeah, because the -4, think about it as just like a normal one that you would be solving without 2. You would add 4 to both sides, right, to move it. So you're doing the same thing, but just like twice,
Okay.
like doing 2 problems at the same time.
So the only way it's closed is if it's equal to.
Yeah, so if it has the line underneath it is when it would be closed.
Would we do this a fraction?
Yes. Yeah. Gavin, the new one is there now if you want to log in. It's a whole separate assignment. It'll have your name on it. But you might want to start it because you only have like 24 minutes left.
I could probably start a makeup.
You can't do it at home.
Oh.
It's a quiz. It's like it's to finish that. Yeah, so I would do it right now and then you can do the notes at home.
I'm gonna post the rest of it on.
Yeah, I'll post the video too.
Thanks.
All right, so on this one. Okay, what did you guys do first to get the middle solved for? So we're just focusing on the center. What would you have to do first to get the y by itself?
I did.
Yep. So add 4. So you would get 2, 18, and then 3y. Okay, and then you still have to keep getting the y by itself, so what would I do next? Yep, divide by 3. So you get y. That's going to be 6, and that's going to keep, we're going to keep that as 2/3. Okay, and then make sure you have smaller number here, bigger number here, both less than signs. Yeah.
Well, couldn't you just subtract 3? Just 3 minus 22.
Because then you have a 0y, so you got rid of your y. So we're trying to get the y by itself and make it a 1y, so that's why we want to divide by 3, because 3 divided by 3 is going to make that 1y. Does that make sense? Okay.
That's not the show work on this, right?
If on the bottom right, if it says show work on the question. Okay, so here at 2/3, am I going to have open or closed? Open, yes, that's going to be like right here. And then what about at 6?
Open.
Open. Yep, and then it gets connected between the two. Okay. Good? Any questions on that? Are you splitting them, solving them, and putting it back together? Yeah. That's what how I used to teach it. And there's a good way, or a good reason to do that because of the next problems. Yeah. So guys, right now you're doing the shortcut way of solving this. Keep in mind, okay? So what comes along with that is that there's one scenario where you have to be able to catch it and pay attention that it gets messed up in, and you have to fix it, okay? Yes.
So, about the grading lesson,
Mm-hmm.
if it was less than, it would be going left or right.
Less than's going to the left, but for the 2/3, since the y's on the right, that's y is greater than. Because the y's on the wrong side for that one.
Oh.
Does that make sense? So they're both going to be less than signs, but it's always going to be connected between. Yeah. Okay, so the next example is kind of showing you a situation that you have to be aware of happening. Okay? So let's solve this one. All right, so when I'm solving this one first, so I'm looking in the center. What would I have to do first to solve it?
-3.
Yeah, -3. -2x. That's going to be -4, -8. Okay, and then how would I keep solving it?
Divide by -2.
Yeah, divide by -2. What do I have to do when I multiply or divide by a negative?
Switch.
Switch the signs. Yep.
All of them.
Yep. So that one's going to turn this way. That one's going to turn this way. That's going to be a +2. That's going to be a +4.
So we would flip if it's divide.
By negative only. Multiply or divide by negative is when you got to flip the signs. Okay, so now when I'm looking at this, my smaller number's on this side, my bigger number's on this side. I don't have 2 less than signs, I have 2 greater than signs. So this is wrong, okay? It's not wrong like you have the answer wrong, it's just written wrong. So whenever you end up multiplying or dividing by a negative in this process, that's when your like little warning bells need to be going off, and you need to be like, okay, for my final answer, I'm gonna have to move things around, okay? So think about this, what I'm gonna do next, as kind of like I'm taking a spatula and putting it underneath this entire problem and flipping the whole thing over. Okay, so I'm going to write my smaller number on the left, my bigger number on the right, my x is in the middle still, my signs both have to flip around to less thans, and then just take notice of which number had any equal to lines. So the 4 is the one that was equal to, so you just want to keep that the same. Okay, so you're just flipping the whole thing over. Yeah.
So you switch the signs because you give like a negative and everything?
Yep.
And you have to flip it, so why would you still?
So because if you don't switch the signs, then what's going to happen is you're going to have 2 less than signs, but the numbers are going to be in the wrong spot. So the smaller number is still going to be on the right, and the bigger number is going to be on the left, which is going to get messed up. Yeah. Oops. Here. There you go. So that's the trade-off for like being able to do the shortcut way. Okay, is you just have to watch out for this one instance where you multiply or divide by negative that the final answer you flip around. Okay. All right. So for the graph 2, am I gonna have open or closed? Open. At 4, open or closed? Closed. And then the x is between them. Okay. Any questions on that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, regardless of what way the arrow is supposed to go, we connect them.
So yeah, because as long as these are both less than signs, that's the smaller number and that's the bigger number, connecting them is always going to be the right answer. Because for this, it's going to be to the left of the bigger number, and then it's going to be to the right of the smaller number, because x is bigger than the smaller number, because the x is on this side.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead and try the next one. Put this thing. Um, sorry, Jesus. I'm gonna have to do this with you first, though, that one. It's a, yeah, don't worry. It's like a virtual thing for meetups. So yeah, so the line's always going to be connecting between it for things because the x is on the left side in one of them, but the x is on the right side in the other one.
All of them.
Yeah, for when x is in the middle, yeah.
X in the middle between.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready to go over this one? Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, what did you guys do first to start solving it? Yep, other 5. So negative 3x. All right, that side's going to be 9. That side's going to be 3. Okay, and then how do you continue solving that?
Divided by negative.
Yep, divide by negative 3. So since I'm dividing by negative, what do I have to do?
Switch.
Yeah, switch all the signs. So that's going to turn to this and this. That's going to be a negative 1. That's going to be a negative 3. Okay, so now when we're looking at this, we see that our smaller number's on the right instead of the left, and our signs are backwards. So let's rewrite this. This is always going to happen when you multiply or divide by negative, always. Okay, that's the only time it's going to happen. So negative 3x, negative 1, and then the negative 3 did not have the line. The 1 did have the line. Okay. So it should look like that for your final answer. So it really helps if you're a visual person. I literally picture someone putting a spatula under that, picking it up, and then flipping it like a pancake. Okay? All right, so is negative 3 going to have an open or closed up? Open. Negative 1? Closed. And then connect in between. So this basically, like your graph, the order of your graph should match up with that. Like this should be able to like connect. Okay? Okay, good. All right, cool. So the last thing is solving the or compound inequalities, which is actually the easy problems. So you guys already did the hard ones. So for the or ones, they're already basically separate inequalities, so you just solve them separately, okay? So solving this first one, what would I do first to solve that one?
-2.
Yep, -2. So you have 3t is less than -9. And then what next?
Divided by 3.
Divided by 3. So you get t is less than -3. All right, and then solve this one. What would I do first?
-5.
-5. So you have -4t is less than -4. Okay, and then what?
And then divide by -4.
Yeah, divide by -4. Okay, I'm dividing by negative, so what do I have to do?
Switch.
Yep, switch the sign. T is now greater than +1, and you just drop the word or between it. So what you want to make sure of is the first one should always be the less than with the smaller number. Then the second one should always be the greater than with the bigger number, okay? And then otherwise, if that's the case, so it should go in order of your graph again. So smaller than bigger. So when we graph that, is -3 going to get open or closed?
Open.
Open. And then less than is what direction?
Left.
Left. And then 1, open or closed?
Open.
Open. And greater than is which way?
Right.
Right? Yep. So they go away from each other like they're supposed to. So it would look like that. Got it? Mm-hmm.
Problem is like 4t is less. Why is it switch?
Because we divided by a negative.
Oh.
All right, go ahead and do the got it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do your planer. Gavin, your
If it's like 3 letter but it's negative, when you divide that, we have the bottom, when you divide, we have to be the negative 2.
So the one that you're dividing by, so the one that goes on the underneath, would have to be negative to flip it. I do. Will you throw it on my desk? Yes. Yeah. Wait, because we're done at 29. Wait, like 2 more minutes, because usually I want like 5 minutes. So as soon as we're done with this next problem, then we can. All right. So this one's kind of tricky. All right. So solve the first one. All right. What would you do first to solve that?
-7.
Yep, -7. So you have negative 2y is less than -6. Okay, then what?
Divided by -2.
Yeah, divide by -2, which means I have to what?
Switch.
Yeah, flip the sign. See if y is greater than 3. Okay, and then solving this one, what do you guys do first? -3. So 4y is less than or equal to -8. Okay, then what? Divide by 4. Would I flip the sign here? No, because the 4 is not negative, right? So you get y is less than or equal to -2. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, does the smaller number come first? No, right? So this isn't going to really match up to the graph. So I'm just going to reorder this and do the smaller number with the less than first. So y is less than or equal to -2, or, and then the y is greater than 3.
Do we have to?
I don't really know how to answer that question. I would say that it would be very beneficial for you too. I don't know if you necessarily have to. Yeah, I don't know. I just would, because I feel like it's gonna hurt you later if you don't. Yeah.
So on top, on the bottom right, -5 and -3, when you do that, what would you do to positive?
Correct, because we're adding and subtracting, not multiplying. So the 2 negatives make a positive when you're multiplying and dividing. All right, so then when I put this on the graph, is -2 going to get open or closed? Closed. Going which way?
On left.
Left. And then for 3, open or closed? Open, going which way?
Right.
Right, yeah. So the reason why I like to put it in the right order also is because for the ors, see how the 2 symbols are pointing away from each other? So that you kind of can match it up with that, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so we're actually, because this next part, interval notation, is really, really important, so we're stopping here today, and I'll post the video and the scans of just up to there, and we're going to finish the rest of this on Monday. So if you want to start working on your homework, the next chunk of homework isn't due until the test day, which is like the 22nd. But if you want to start your homework, you can. There will just be a couple problems you won't be able to do, the ones that talk about interval notation. Okay? Yeah.
Because I like going ahead and seeing if I can figure it out. Is this